Hey, good morning, Ram family. This is your Friday MWISD ISD update. And since the end of the school year is coming on Wednesday, May 27th, this will be the last one. I might make a video once in a while on an unscheduled basis if big news comes out of TEA or there's some sort of major development or some sort of major decision that we make locally that's a big change. But for the most part, this will be this will definitely be the last of the scheduled every Friday videos. So I want to thank everyone for watching these videos from the outset in mid-May of this COVID situation. I want to remind you that for the duration of the summer, if you have any questions, you can email us at coronavirus@MWISD.net. A couple of quick reminders. Mineral Wells High School graduation ceremony will be on June 6th at 9 a.m. For folks who prefer a more intimate setting, we are offering private graduations. We've had more than 33 at this point, seniors who have chosen the private option, and I believe those are still available. You can email Dr. Funk, dfunk@MWISD.net to inquire. The good thing about these 33 plus private graduations is they will reduce the size of our June 6th crowd by over 230 guests. And we think it's prudent to socially distance ourselves during the big graduation event. So this makes that a little bit easier by having those folks not there. So thank you to those who have opted for the private graduations to help us socially distance at the June 6th graduation. And congratulations, graduates who have already had their private graduations. The other thing I want to tell you is that we are currently planning on sticking with the 2020-2021 MWISD school calendar that was previously adopted by the school board. I know TEA has put out some suggestions for alternative calendars. We plan to stick with what we've already developed. That calendar has students returning to school on August the 18th. We are looking at the TEA's models that they've put out for consideration, and some of those models are pretty different from what we're used to. And I think there are some good thoughts and good ideas in those things. But while these models may work for some school districts, we feel that the timeline to make such a major decision, a major change, is just too short for us at this time. It's important with calendars here in Mineral Wells to get lots of stakeholder input and to really carefully work through things. Our calendar is influenced by the fact that Mineral Wells Independent School District is the fiscal agent for a county-wide special education cooperative. And the decisions that we make impact all of our county schools. We educate kids from every single county school, Santo, Grayford, Gordon, Strawn, Palo Pinto. And so our calendar definitely impacts decisions that they make on their campuses. So to pull a big switcheroo here at the last minute would put them in a bind, and we don't want to do that. So we don't want to affect them in that way. And we also have several students from smaller schools around us that don't have high schools that come to our high school. And so when we put our calendar out, we do try to coordinate with those schools and align as much as we can. We have bus service kind of running between school districts for those purposes, and also bringing those special education students that participate in our co-op. You can find the approved Mineral Wells ISD 2020-2021 school calendar by going to MWISD.net, click on Parents and Students at the top menu, and then on the drop-down, click Parent Toolbox. And once that opens up, you can click on District Calendar. You'll see the current school calendar and next year's school calendar. One more thing I want to say. 2 items came out within the last couple of days that have people reacting pretty strongly online. Not from us, but from other sources. The first thing that came out was TEA's summer school guidance. And the second was guidance from the CDC about reopening schools. And I just want to comment about both of those things real quickly. First of all, the TEA guidance was specifically about summer school. A lot of people are trying to read into that and say, well, that's what fall is going to look like. But things have changed very quickly since March related to the virus, related to government's response to the virus. So I don't believe we can really speculate with any confidence that the summer school guidelines will resemble TEA guidance for the fall. I just don't think we can say that with any confidence at all. And also, many of the things that people seem to be the most upset about were recommendations, not requirements. So you can assume the recommendations are going to be, the most safe thing you can do. that doesn't mean that's what we're going to be doing necessarily in all of our schools. And it's all moot locally because Mineral Wells ISD summer school is 100% online this summer. We're not having face-to-face summer school, which is a decision that we made weeks ago, long before Governor Abbott gave permission to even have in-person summer school. And we did that out of an abundance of caution. So the TEA summer guidelines, you can read them and see what they're recommending for summer school, but please don't try to speculate that that's what the fall will look like, because I think you're wrong if that's what you're speculating. I think it'll be different. Second, the popular Facebook post with purported CDC guidelines on a blue background is kind of like a textbook example of how social media can do as much harm as good. Social media does a lot of good. We use it for a lot of information getting out and things like that, but it can also do harm. First of all, that post is not from the CDC. It's from an individual or organization who took new CDC guidance and then compiled it into a slide. But it's not very accurate. It's a little bit misleading, whether on purpose or accidentally. The CDC gave a lot of suggestions, and this slide kind of implies that they're not suggestions, that they're requirements, and so people are very upset about those supposed requirements. It also had misspelled words, it had some other errors, some facts that were a little bit skewed. What it presents, kind of in sum, is a much scarier picture than what I expect to see in local schools in the fall. I think it's clickbait, and I think it worked because I saw a lot of people share it. Even some teachers, unfortunately, shared it. The reason we click on it is because it upsets us. I can't guarantee you what next school year will look like, and neither can anyone else. But I can tell you that we in Mineral Wells Independent School District want to move back to as normal of a school experience as we safely can, as quickly as we can. We are not going to be reckless and risk the health of students or staff, but we're also not going to overreact and roll our kids in bubble tape and take measures that are not necessary. I predict the changes that end up being in place in our schools will be targeted, will be fairly unobtrusive, and I'll say it plainly, there will be changes. There's no doubt that there will be changes. I'm not going to use the phrase the new normal. I think that's getting used quite enough. But unless things take a really terrible turn for the worse with the virus, I don't think the changes will be the super extreme things that folks are putting online to create a sense of crisis and despair. So please don't panic. I know it's hard to wait and let things unfold, but that's exactly what I would ask you to do before getting terribly upset. I want to end this last video by thanking our parents for all that you've done this spring to teach your kids and keep them moving forward with their education. The majority of our families stayed engaged all the way to the end. And I believe that's a testament to how much you love your kids and your understanding that the outlines of their future are drawn by decisions that you as parents make today. If it's done right, the word parent is a verb, not just a noun. It's something you do, not just some title you've earned when you had kids. It's something you do on a daily basis. And I'm really proud of the parents of Mineral Wells ISD for stepping up and loving your kids by educating them. Now, I also want to thank our faculty and staff for turning on a dime this spring and creating a whole new system for educating our kids remotely. And they built it from the ground up with very little heads up. It just happened. And then they just rolled up their sleeves and they got to work and they launched it with 1 week of preparation. And I know sometimes teachers, you felt like you were swimming upstream. I know there were lots and lots of times where you were just a day or two or a week ahead of your kids, just struggling to stay ahead of them and to get those materials prepared and get those out to kids in time and respond to questions and deal with technology issues. I know the hurt and frustration you felt for kids who didn't show up, didn't do their assignments, didn't attend their Zooms, that just disappeared off the face of the earth. But you showed tremendous heart and tremendous resilience, and I'm really proud of you. But most of all, I want to thank the students of Mineral Wells ISD. Your education is yours. It's your responsibility, of course, and I'm not just preaching that. I know you've heard that a million times, but it is your responsibility to learn and study and put in the work. But that's not what I'm talking about when I say your education is yours. I'm talking about the power to set your sails in the direction you want to go in life. You've heard it a million times. Education is power. The flip side of that is ignorance is powerlessness. If you can think for yourself, you can control your life's trajectory. You can decide what you will be, where you will go, and who you will be. So I want to thank you for stepping up as your teachers have been forced to step back. COVID made it necessary for teachers to let go of the back of the seat on the bike and let you pedal up the street by yourself. And you didn't crash. You were successful. To our seniors, congratulations on making it to the finish line of 13 years of schooling, going all the way back to kindergarten. The diploma that you're earning is your entry ticket to the next phase of your life. I think you're ready. The class of 2020 will go down in history as the class that had so much taken from them at the last moment. No class since the Spanish flu in 1918 has endured what you've endured. Proms and banquets and spring sports gone in an instant. Contests and events that never happened. I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm very, very pleased with the community of Mineral Wells for stepping up the way that it has. So many people wanted to adopt a senior that some of you, many of you, most of you, were adopted by 2 or 3 families. And then a local business bought signs for 220 seniors to put out along Lady Ram Boulevard. Thank you so much, Samples family, for doing that for our seniors. As you go forward from Mineral Wells High School, I challenge you to always be proud of who you are and where you're from. We've got graduates all over the world doing big things. Mineral Wells High School Rams are in New York City, Dallas, Miami, and Nashville. They're winning Grammys. They're playing games in the NFL. They're putting together multi-million-dollar business deals. We have so many great success stories all over the place. They're rising through the ranks of the armed forces, serving our nation with honor and valor. And you know what? The Minerals High School graduates that I admire as much as any, well, they're still right here in Mineral Wells. They're starting their own businesses, or they've been running their own businesses for years. They're teaching, they're serving on boards and councils, and giving back to their communities. They're volunteering, they're working in our churches. I'm just as proud of those Mineral Wells graduates who are still right here in Mineral Wells as I am of any Mineral Wells graduate. You know, every senior says, I can't wait to get out of this town. I can't wait. And it makes sense. We all want to see what the world has to offer. I was the same way. Couldn't wait to get out of my hometown. So go and see. But I hope a good number of you come back after you roam, because I know you want to see what the world has to offer, but the world also wants to see what you have to offer. I'll see you on June 6th at your graduation ceremony. Have a great weekend.